And what I want to tell you is that this is the moment that I've personally been waiting for. No, it's not me bringing on my partner, Simeon. That happens later, and I get to see the guy all the time. It's because my next guest is going to be speaking about the exclusive opportunity that we are going to give to our investors right now. See, look, what's going to happen is this, after this conversation that I'm going to have with the very good-looking Sean Zahadi. Did I pronounce the last name right, brother?
Yeah, correct.
Thank you. Okay,
good
awesome.
enough.
And now you guys see him on the screen. I'm sure Steven got him there. Welcome to the marathon, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're for sure, buddy. I mean, I know how busy you are. You're actually going to be running to an event talking about what we're talking about. But the nice thing is that we've somewhat digitally kind of kidnapped him because we got access to stuff before anybody else's, and that you guys are just going to love it because you're an REC insider. See, we already spoke about the thought process that investing into real estate, if you're somebody who wants to take action, you will be able to create wealth in real estate long term. But if you can match an investment opportunity that already provides you with something that is long-term and passive, I think that's the best of both worlds. And so myself and Sean are going to be speaking about specifically, not only a opportunity, but before we get into that, I want to touch on the strategy, because you've been doing this for a very long time. And sometimes I might fall on some deaf ears with my clients because they've heard it for a very long time. But the strategy of investing into a new build condo, a pre-construction condo, some would say that in today's market, it might not be the best strategy. What would you say to them, Sean?
So thanks again for having me. As you said, we collectively, me and my partners, we brought 12,000 units into the market in the past 2 decades, and we're very, very bullish about Toronto's market. The reason being, if you look at the number of people coming to this country, right, and the fact that we set a goal of 3.5 million any form of housing needed by 2030. So but at the pace we're going, we're going to be million houses short. So this is going to put huge upward pressure actually on the market. And as a matter of fact, we're not building fast enough. So this is a chronic issue that we have. I know a lot of people are concerned about the mortgage rates and the uncertainty of what they're seeing today. But to be honest, like, unless we close our doors to newcomers and basically say no more new people, this chronic problem is going to continue to be the case.
And I want you to hold your thought there, because
yeah.
I was going to mention it with Chris Slidham, because he spoke about the people coming in, like immigrants coming in. And one thing I didn't mention there, and I think it's very important to mention, the main reason why it doesn't look like this is going to stop for a very long time, because if you just look at what the business model of the government of Canada is, let's not get it twisted, and I'm not going on a political rant because you guys know me, I don't do that. But if we just look at it from a business perspective, you need to bring people in because that is the revenue that government of Canada produces by these immigrants. And I'm like the kid of one, so I can say this. They come here and they work. And when you work, you pay taxes. And that's the revenue. Hence why the flow of people coming in is not going to stop for a very long time. In fact, if you look at it, if it's a blue government, a red government, an orange government, or anything in between, they all feel like they always want to stick to one thing. They disagree on many, but the one thing that they agree on is bringing people in. So continue,
Absolutely,
Sean.
yes. So, I mean, our stats and the study shows that most of these people, I would say maybe 46% of those newcomers, they're going to settle in Greater Toronto and Hamilton area. And that's going to put huge pressure on the market moving forward. And as a matter of fact, I was looking at some stats. Government out of Ontario, so they set a goal for 29 cities in Greater Toronto and Hamilton area.
Okay.
And I was looking at markets like Hamilton. They're only at 21% of their target. That means that they're not building enough. And at some point, this is going to bounce back, and it's going to bounce back big time.
Okay, now, before we talk about this specific opportunity that we're going to give to my REC insiders today. I want to talk a little bit about the strategy. Why is pre-construction such a common strategy for investors? And now look, it's not for everybody. This opportunity that we're going to launch is for the action takers today. I don't have 67 units that I'm bringing to the marathon, and I'll touch on that. And so it's going to be for a very small select. I think we're at, probably about 600-700 people on right now. And so we'll talk about what this opportunity is and how you get access. But the strategy, why is this such a popular strategy?
Okay, the number one basically keyword for those investors looking to pre-construction, leveraging time. Okay. So the key is not, product, finishes, views, exposure. We're talking leveraging time. So you only put so much down in 5, 10, 20% of the deposit, but you're basically benefiting from any upward growth on that product. The only example that I can give you that is kind of like similar to this, which is very risky, getting to derivatives and options.
Right.
You borrow money, you're hoping for future, appreciation. But guess what? Let's say you buy a $600,000 unit in pre-construction. We have deals with as low as 10% deposit, which we're going to go into that.
Don't let the cat out of the bag
yet.
yet.
Yes. But if you look at that, you're putting $60,000 down. Okay, you can buy a product, or in this case, this vehicle is condo investment, like pre-construction, $600,000. You're only putting 10% of that down. Okay, we counted for 5% year-over-year appreciation for that condo, which is very much in line with what Treb's showing us.
Yeah.
Treb's stats showing 7% over the last 2 decades. We're talking 5%. So 5% of that 600,000 will equate to probably around 760,000 by the time this building is up.
The new purchase price.
Yes. So for those of your audience, no cash on cash, that will give you 320% cash on cash. The ROI cannot get any better, and that's why I myself, my partners, my friends in RAD, we are very bullish in this basically market, and we pretty much invest in every single project that we bring to the market.
Now, you spoke about the number one reason that you see investors and feel investors, why they invest into pre-construction. For me personally, I'm a very boring investor. Okay, and a very lazy investor, the truth, right? Which is because I just don't have a lot of time to buy a property, add an income suite, and some of my clients do it and they make money, and that's a great investment. For me, I just like to park my money and have it make money for me. I want it to do the work. And so what I like about pre-construction is not only the staggered deposits and the down payment, but for me, based on even what we were speaking to Chris D'Souza about, it doesn't show up on the radar for while it's getting built to the lender while I go get other types of financing. And for me, sometimes that is financing for my business, this thing that I call my business, as well as other businesses I'm in, as well as if I see another income property or a multiplex that I want to invest in. The lender doesn't see the purchases that I make with a pre-construction condo. So for me, that's huge. The other thing that I really, really like about pre-construction condo is that when you said time, and I completely agree with you, Sean, you get to buy time. But within buying that time, what you also get is flexible exit options. And what I mean by that is that if you had to flip the paper and do an assignment, but please don't buy any type of pre-construction condo with the sole purpose of assigning it. We've said this since day one, that we've been doing this for a decade when in the world of investing into pre-construction condos, and I'll continue to say it. I don't want you to buy this opportunity or any pre-construction condo with the sole purpose of assigning it, because to us, that's not investing. That's speculating. And if you're in Ontario, we might be better off just going to Niagara Falls and choosing black or red, right? And so I really want you to invest. I don't want you to speculate. And some would say that, well, pre-construction is speculating because you're just putting out, a bunch of these passive appreciation numbers. But I think we went ultra conservative.
Yep.
Over a decade, we know what happens in the Greater Toronto Hamilton area. You're looking at about 7.2 to 7.8% year over year growth. You said 5. I'll actually say 3.5. In fact, I'll even say 2.5%. Let's cut the 5% in half as well, because when that starts to, And Einstein said it, the best invention in the world was compound interest.
Yep.
When you get that compounding effect on that purchase price and on that appreciation, you can see how the value really increases.
Yep. So one thing to add to that for younger folks looking at this for the first time, buying and getting to pre-construction, listen, I talked to them, I trained them. I was doing this yesterday with a bunch of actually new agents, try to get into pre-construction. So listen, you're helping your younger basically clients to just basically get into pre-construction. And this is, to me, let's say the market is not as great as you think it is, but this is a way of forced saving for them to tap into this market, right? So this is not what you can do with resale, because you need to get mortgage commitment right away. You need to get a start. I mean, you need to get
the 20% down
right there, right? But that's the beauty of pre-construction. You can just extend that time frame that you can get into this market.
And look, that generation from 24 to like say 32, 33, unfortunately, sometimes they buy dumb shit, and it's about like showing like I need kicks, I need cars, I need all this kind of stuff, right? What you said about the forced savings plan, that's huge. That's huge because when you know that you're tied to a property that you're purchasing that's going to be closing in 5 years, you can't go and buy that stuff. Maybe it's one vacation to Ibiza, not 3.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because now you know that you have to put these down payments down over time. Now I want to speak about this specific opportunity. And I kind of like to do it from the perspective of what's most important. They're all important, what we're going to be talking about, but I like to kind of go in order, okay? And so what I like to do is talk about the location of this opportunity. Because if it doesn't even check off the location, and please understand that myself, Simeon, and the rest of the team at our REC Canada, we get approximately 50 to 75 projects at our table every single year, like clockwork, 50 to 75. What I do with my core group is I actually narrow that down to about 6 to 8. In 2023, I've only promoted and got loud and got passionate and looked as good as I look on this camera now. Okay, approximately 3 times. Why? Because I haven't liked all the stuff that has come to the table. And never, ever in 19 years, I said this as we started at the starting line, but for the friends and family that are now joining us now, in 19 years, I've seen all the incentives. I've seen them in majority of the projects that we actually promote. But in 19 years, I've never yet seen a project that we've released that has all these incentives in one offering. It's usually like 2 out of the 4 or 3 out of the 4, never all 4, and a couple of ones that are even over and above that I'm used to seeing. I mentioned this to you guys because if I didn't think this project was good, I wouldn't bring it to the table. And so we're going to have approximately 13 units that we have access to. It's always on first come, first serve basis. I'm going to tell you exactly where you can get all the information, but please don't get this wrong. You're just putting up your hand and putting in a reservation form to decide if this opportunity makes sense for you. You're not paying anything today, but because it's first come, first serve basis, because I've been doing this for 10 years, I know how this plays out. We always get people who want to get in, but they got in a little too late. And the best thing is, guys, you're not paying it for anything today. Now is just going to be the opportunity where you put up your hand and say, look, I would love this unit. Here's all my information. And then our team is going to reach out to you by tomorrow. So for my West Coast friends and family, when you get a 416 number calling you, make sure you answer it, because we call you a couple of times, and if you don't answer, then we got to move to the next REC Insider. We just found that that's the most fair thing to do. And here's really where the rubber hits the road. See, you're watching right now and you're listening to this, and I said that the next 5 years are coming. It's a matter of what version of you is going to show up in the next 5 years. There's a reason there's a thing called the wealthy, because they take action. They actually take action, and if they find a strategy that makes sense, that's when they use the strategy that I like to call ready, fire, aim. And real estate and this strategy today, you can actually use ready, fire, aim. Why? Because you're going to be able to put up your hand and then aim, and we're going to make sure that this is the right investment. We're going to talk about the location. We're going to talk about the builder because we don't want to be used as the guinea pig.
Yep.
And no, would I ever let my clients be used as a guinea pig in terms of the first time at the rodeo for the developer. I have a funny feeling we checked that off with this developer. The third thing is the incentives, and we're going to go through that in detail. So let's talk about the name of the condos first. What's the name of the project?
The name of this project is Corktown Condos.
And where is it located?
This is in downtown Hamilton.
Okay.
We have 2 projects. It's if you look it up on Google, so you see it. It's called Corktown Plaza. This is the location of the site. We're only 2 blocks to the south of main GO Transit Hub, and also 2 blocks to the south of basically St. Joe's Hospital, one of the largest employers of Hamilton. So, but before we get into the nitty-gritty of the project, let me tell you about who is behind this project. It's very interesting. Slate Asset Management is one of the largest, actually.
You said that too quick. Who's the company that you just mentioned?
Slate Asset Management.
Now take your time.
Okay, so just give you a little bit of background about this company. So founded by 2 brothers almost 20 years ago. They're out of Burlington, but now I can proudly say they're true global company. They have their main office is still in Toronto. They have offices in New York, Paris, Oslo. I was lucky enough to be in their Frankfurt office last year. And these guys managing close to $14 billion. They have 2 REITs, 1 office REIT and 1 grocery REIT in US. And they're expanding their residential portfolio in Greater Toronto and Hamilton area. So the very first project that we brought to the market in partnership with Slate Asset Management was around Yonge and St. Clair. As a matter of fact, this is the first time I've seen it myself that one institution, one developer, they own all 4 corners of a major intersection in City of Toronto. They own all 4 corners of Yonge and St. Clair. Okay?
That's where One Delisle
That's
being built.
One Delisle was, that's where I'm getting. So One Delisle was a project that we did back in 2021 with Slate Asset Management. We brought Jeannie Gang, one of top architects in the world, and she agreed to work on this project. It was a great success back in 2021, selected as Project of the Year by Stories, right? So this is the same philosophy we're bringing to Hamilton. Their journey in Hamilton started with acquisition of Stelco. Okay. So for those of your audience are familiar with Hamilton, so we're talking about 800-acre waterfront used to be called Stelco. Now it's called Steelport. Now it's all owned by Slate Asset Management. We're talking over $1 billion investment in Hamilton already. Okay,
so they believe in this.
They believe in Hamilton. This is long game for them, right? And but that's not all.
Really quickly, Sean, really, and don't forget your thought. Yeah. You could tell where the passion's coming from because I've been waiting for a project all year where I can bring something that not only checks it off, or it makes it a no-brainer.
Yep.
So much a no-brainer that usually I get 20 units in projects, but you guys didn't let me. And so I don't know if it's Simeon's fault or my fault, but it's somebody's fault that I wasn't able to get 20 units. The reason I'm passionate about it, because when you mention that they've invested $1 billion, 800 acres.
800 acre.
What I say, guys, I ain't that smart. I barely passed high school. And I'm telling you this because what I've learned, though, to become wealthy in real estate, you don't need to be that smart. All you got to do is follow where the big money goes.
Yep.
And if the big money, like a Slate Asset Management, is putting money in certain areas, it might be a good idea to at least look at that location, that building, that offering. Continue.
Yes. Okay. So, and that basically tells you the scale of their investment in Hamilton. I think single-handedly, they're probably the largest private investor in Hamilton as of today, and they're going to continue to bring product into Hamilton. But Corktown is a complete different initiative. This is the very first residential condominium project in downtown Hamilton. As I said, only 2 blocks from main GO Transit Hub and 2 blocks to St. Joe's Hospital, which will give you access to 7,000 healthcare professionals, which will be part of your pool of tenants down the road, right? So the beauty of this project is that this is the first time I've seen it myself. And between me and my colleague Riz, you guys are all familiar with Riz, we've probably promoted 32 projects in the last 20 years. And this is the very first time I see in myself that one of major banks in Canada is equity partner on any condo development, which is the case here.
Are you allowed to talk about the bank?
Yes.
Okay,
Bank of Montreal.
Yes.
Is our equity partner on this project, to the point that when I do my pricing, when I talked about incentives, the package that I get you, basically I have to get their sign off on that as well.
Wow, okay.
So this brings
Hence
huge
why you
credibility.
didn't give me more units.
Oh yeah. So this
Because
brings
those
only
bankers
more.
didn't sign off on it. Well, that's huge because I've never seen that as well. That's important for people to understand that when you have a bank actually partnering up and it being an equity partner, that tells you that there's not going to be an issue when it comes to building. Because to me, that's a major concern. Hence why I don't want to be the guinea pig for a developer or a builder. Because if they don't build the projects, your money is safe because your deposits were put into a trust account. You get your money back. But for me as an investor, there's this thing called opportunity cost. I lost the opportunity for that money to make me more money, right? When you're an equity partner and your equity partner is a bank, you're not going to have an issue with this being built. Continue,
No, exactly. So I think to me, this brings huge credibility to the project itself. And so this project's...
So location's awesome. Let's talk about the building now.
Yeah, the building, we have this building that we're bringing to you is 27-story tower, 372 units.
Okay.
So most of them are basically, it's a very simple floor plate in the building.
Yep.
So everything stacks up.
Floor plans are amazing.
Yeah,
I've
so
seen
only-
them. No wasted space. What I call dead space in floor plans. And like you have 600 square feet, but you walk in there, it feels like 482 square feet,
Yep.
right?
So
where these, the 550 square feet units, they actually feel like they're 685 square feet because there's really no dead space in any of these floor plans.
Yeah, I take that as a compliment.
Oh,
because
100%.
One of the things that we do at RAD with our
design them?
developer partners, I design all my plates and it spends
That was
30
gonna
to
be my joke for the
40%.
marathon,
No,
but
yeah.
no, it's not.
So 30-40% of my time is spent on creating these floor plans and basically floor plates of the building. So that was exactly what we had in mind. We want to make sure that we have functional yet, inexpensive or, attractive price point for each and every unit that we have. So we kind of like went back and we shrunk the size of some of these units that used to be a little bit large for Hamilton, but we want to make sure that the end price point for each and every unit type is attractive, right? So we have combination of the studios, 1 bedrooms, 1+ dens, and larger 2 bedrooms, which is a little bit different than Toronto's market, right? Going back to Q1 of this year. So if you look at CMHC's report, there's a huge shortage of 2 bedrooms in Hamilton. Why? Because the projected actually population growth expected for Hamilton shows us that there are a lot of families, there are a lot of younger professionals tap into that market. And those are the guys mostly come from, I would say maybe South Asia, a lot of them. They used to go to markets like Mississauga, Brampton, Burlington, and now they've been priced out. So they're going further west. So
you got to drive till you qualify when you buy, as well as a tenant as well. Sometimes you get priced out of the downtown Toronto core areas, and you have to then, like you said, you went to Mississauga first, then you went to Burlington, or maybe even Oakville in certain pockets, obviously, and then now you're going to Hamilton. But you also have a lot of jobs there as well, right?
Yep.
So hence why people are moving there. Continue.
There are a couple other things I want to talk about Hamilton, which is real important, right? So number one, we looked at that number. We're talking about $7 billion basically projected to be coming to Hamilton's market from different levels of governments. One of those big investments is basically LRT. So Hamilton's going to have its own LRT with 17 stations across the city. And we checked with Bell Canada. They're investing $500 million in 5G network. So they're expanding the airport. That Steelport initiative is basically projected to bring 24,000 jobs into Hamilton's market. So guess what? These are all your future tenants if you are to invest in projects like Corktown. So this is not just one developer, one basically, municipality think that, okay, you know what, we're going to do something. This is very major. And I've never seen anything like, if you look at other sub-markets, you don't have airports, right? You don't have that proximity to U.S. border. You don't have all these infrastructure that we talked about. So that's what it only makes it more attractive going to Hamilton's market.
I want to go back to the building now. We spoke about the units. We spoke about the floor plans. Like some of the other amenities, right? I think are important to speak about as well. Touch on that for me.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that you technically and usually don't see in Hamilton in new condos is 24/7 concierge, but we do have that here, so which is great. It's a peace of mind. We have from swimming pools, from file lounge area, from co-working space, you name it. The list goes on and on and on, and with close to 9,000 square feet of retail at the base of this building. But the biggest item that I love myself, I brought those guys myself. It took us 6 months to negotiate. We are going to have our own shuttle service for this building, exclusive to the residents of this building. And I'll tell you why. Because we looked at McMaster, which is one of the biggest universities in Canada and number one in Hamilton. So you have close to 50,000 students right there, right? We said, okay, what is it that we can do to make that pool of future tenants that come in from that school to be able to come to this? Because there's only, I would say maybe there's 10 to 12 minutes drive. Not every student has car. And that's why we brought this shuttle service. So meaning that not only you can rent your units to healthcare professionals going to St. Joe's, you can also be open to that pool of future students of McMaster University with that shuttle service.
And that's one of the reasons I like some of the 2 bedrooms there, because as students, my experience is that you can then have 2 roommates.
Yes.
And instead of paying for a 1 bedroom on rent, call it $2,500, they'll get a 2 bedroom maybe at $3,200 and pay $1,600 each, right? So the numbers and the return on the investment and the cash flow, and we're going to talk about the incentives, where a 2 bedroom might be something that you want to definitely take a look into. But if you're just getting started with this investment, the studios or the 1 bedrooms, I mean, I originally started my foray in investing into real estate with pre-construction condos with studios. Why? Because I liked the fact that when you had people come in, they weren't staying there long. They would get out, and then actually I would get another tenant and increase the rent. Now, that was obviously before November 15th, 2018. So you can tell how long I've been doing this, because if the building's built after November 2018, it doesn't matter. You can increase the rent on the current tenant right to market rent. You can essentially increase it to whatever you want. You might not just get it. And so we always talk about getting it to market rent. What else about the building or the area? Because I want to hold back a little bit longer about the incentives, because I know my team is making sure that everything's in the back end is prepared.
Yeah, as I said, so we are bringing the same philosophy that we had at One Delisle. As a matter of fact, taking Ginny Gang out of that picture, the rest of the team worked on One Delisle. It's the same team working on basically Corktown as well. So the level of craftsmanship, details, and features and finishes associated with this project is pretty much on par with a lot of projects you see in downtown Toronto.
Okay, now let's talk about the incentives, brother, because I actually got a note. And the note says that you have to leave 5 minutes earlier or 10 minutes earlier, because I know where you're going.
And I'll tell you where I'm going.
I know.
I'm waiting, actually, just for your audience to know. So we have a huge event with 300 people coming, including investors and agents to my office. But
I got you here first.
Yes, that's why. So we carved out
and the cool thing is my guys can do everything digitally.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter.
The beauty of this package is that we carved out set of units.
I love all
for
people,
you
but
guys.
my REC insiders are just a little bit more important.
Of course.
Okay, so let's talk about some incentives.
Yes.
Again, my people who have bought already are going to understand that, oh, wow, okay, this is being loaded with incentives that Jazz and the rest of the team haven't spoken about in the past. Because of the timing of the market right now, the environment of the market, I'm also an investor first. And I have not invested into a pre-construction condo in the last 12 months myself, okay? The last one I did was something in Florida. And 26 just on a webinar like this, 26 of my clients got into that as well. But I have been a little at unease with what's being offered to my table. Big shout out, no jokes like at all. Simeon goes out there and he goes to all the events, and so I don't feel that bad for him, because you guys treat him like he's like some type of king with all this alcohol and food and stuff like that. But I don't go. He brings these things back to me, and I feel bad for him sometimes, because I'm saying no. I don't feel it in my gut. I just don't feel it. Doesn't feel right, because I wouldn't invest in there. And we have kind of a rule around here that someone on our team needs to get into the project. So this one, I'm going to talk about how I'm actually going to get involved in this as well, because it's very important on how I'm going to get involved with this one. But I didn't like the stuff that's coming because I had to figure out a way, like, how do I bypass all this noise and the current environment that we're living in with the interest rates? There was nothing coming to me that was like a 2027 get a mortgage. Sorry, a 2028 get a mortgage. Because even in 2025 or 2026, I think it's too soon in certain situations for certain people. I needed this to be a no-brainer for everyone. And so my favorite thing, or one of my favorite things anyways, about this incentive package is the fact that you actually don't have to get a mortgage for this property till 2029. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
Because that's when occupancy is. But wait, it gets better. Because in 2029, when you have to actually get this mortgage, it is very safe to say, I'm very confident, aside from some type of new lockdown that might happen, but I think that's one it's in every 100 years because we have that data now, the rates will come down. We're not going to see the 1.99 and the 2%. Chris Latham, Patrick Francie, Chris D'Souza, we spoke about that. But you're going to get it to where you will start to see cash flow. And so because of the fact that this is not needing a mortgage till 2029, and then to overlay the fact that we're actually got a rental guarantee from the builder at $5.10 a square foot for Hamilton, which is phenomenal. I would take that pretty much today. Almost. Like, we're right around that, where if you give me, $5.10 right now, even on today's rates, I'm not that far off. But to say to me that you're going to give me $5.10 in 2029, when I also know that the rates are going to be lower, is phenomenal. However, the builder, the one thing myself and Simeon couldn't get them to do is to actually be the property manager and rent out the property, which is fine because Simeon and I both said when we looked at it, this is too good. We at REC Property Management Services are going to be offering a full 1-year tenant placement and property management. What does that mean? Because remember Chris Latham was sitting here and he was talking about some facts about the landlording and all that, and people don't want to deal with the tenants and the toilets. We're going to handle that for you. No more dealing with the tenants and the toilets for that first year, which is really fantastic about this investment because it becomes a 6-year passive turnkey investment for you because it's not going to be built for 5 years. And then we rent it out for you for a year. So for 6 years, you don't need to worry about this. But wait, it gets better.
True.
And for me, what I really like about this, and I know I've said it about every single incentive, but there's a reason for it, is the fact that the down payment is stretched for so long. The fact that I only have to come up with 5% in 30 days, then it's 2.5% in approximately 90 days, 2.5% in about 150 days.
Correct.
Okay, that's 10%. We're going to talk about that. That's 10% down. But then the next installment of 5% is not due till January 2028.
Correct.
4 years from now. Some quick math, almost. It's almost actually 5 years from now, right? So the fact that you don't have to come up with any extra money until January 2028, and then the final 5% is sometime mid or late 2020. I'd probably call it mid 2029.
Yep.
That really allows you now to get involved in other investments, but also that forced savings plan that we spoke about. I also spoke about the fact of how I'm going to get into this project because like you, I'm an investor, but like you, I've also, for like some of you at least, I've also had to figure out ways to get down payments because I've stretched myself with a lot of closings coming up. So I went to Simeon and I said, Simeon, what we always do. We always buy units together. But Simeon has a massive, massive renovation that he's doing, essentially a development. It's not even a renovation to something to a property in Cottage World. I think it's Muskoka.
Yep.
And he also has a couple of more closings that are coming up faster than I have that he didn't tell me about, and so I didn't get involved in it. He actually didn't tell me about it. So I went to him and said, let's joint venture on this. But he said, I can't because I have these things coming up. So I'm actually going to be joint venturing with another colleague of mine to just get into this project. Why am I emphasizing this? But you have to now find a way. Because the 10% on an average purchase price of $650,000 to $700,000, and there's units at $550,000 that we have. There's units at $600,000. But let's use $700,000 just for argument's sake. That's $70,000. If you don't have the $70,000, I want you to find a way. Partner up with somebody who has $35,000. We will put the joint venture together for you. We've done it for hundreds of our clients. We will actually put the trust agreement together for you with the lawyers. We will walk you through that full process. Why? Because we know we're renting it out for you for the first year. We know we're managing it for you for the first year. We know there's a rental guarantee. So like I very rarely use the word guarantee because it's hard to use that. But this is a full rental guarantee. But then there's one incentive that I've never, again, come across, is the fact that development charges are generally anywhere from $14,000 to about $30,000 right now for a purchaser when they buy a property that's new build. For this project, the development charges are zero. Myself and Simeon, we were able to go to the developer and Sean and say, look, we're putting on a real estate marathon. We're going to have 600 to 800 people join us. This might be your chance, Mr. and Mrs. Developer and Builder, to actually offer an incentive that my guys will want to jump on right away. $0 in development charges, as well as zero on education and park levies. So like when we're going to be calculating closing costs, over and above your down payment, there's not much to pay. Like,
listen, one thing just to add. So I'm an investor myself. So, and chances are, if you are to close any pre-construction, you're going to see anywhere from $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 worth of closing costs, right? And if you are to only count for $30,000 based on this offering that we give you, the value of these units, the net value and price of these units is only going down, right? And it makes it even more attractive when it comes to dollar per foot, right? So, but your audience might say, okay, how is it even possible that we can do something like that? Guess what? The answer is Bank of Montreal is our partner. That's why we have that much flexibility to offer you something like that. But keep in mind, this is an exclusive offering to your group because of our long, basically lasting relationship that we have for REC Canada, and we really appreciate your partnership. So please take advantage of this because this is a limited time only offering that we can have, and I'm sure a lot of people get into that.
The information. Yeah. Now, how does this actually start? Stephen, if you can help me share your screen. To get all the information and put your reservation form in, we only have 13 units. You're going to see them. I'm not exaggerating by any means. Go to reccanada.com/for sale. That's reccanada.com/for sale. reccanada.com/for sale. FORSALE. You'll see this page come up on your screen. You got to just put in your information. Once you put in all your contact information, because we do have newer investors with us. Not everybody's been in our world for the 19 years, but majority of you have. What will happen is you'll automatically be redirected to our Corktown investor portal. And what that is Stephen, if you can just quickly show that on screen, it's our Corktown investor portal. This is where you're going to get, right away you'll see the reservation form, but wait, don't go there. I want you to go to the floor plans. That's the 13 units. You'll also see the incentives. You'll also see the brochure, as well as some frequently asked questions if this is the first time you're doing it. The most important thing is looking at the available floor plans, then going back out to the portal and going to the top left-hand corner. If you're doing this on your phone, it's going to be the first button, which is the reservation form. This is where you put up your hand. Remember, no money's exchanging hands yet, but this is where you put in the information, first come, first serve, and you select. Do us a favor, select 2 units. Because I have a funny feeling the energy that we brought together today, and Sean did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
I might be able to squeeze him for another couple of more units. I have a funny feeling because I have that ability to do with people sometimes. So you're going to put in the information. That's going to come to our team starting tomorrow morning. And for some, the ones that have done this before, you'll get a call later on today. And we will make sure that this is the right investment for you first. Secondly, we're going to make sure that this is the right floor plan for you, because depending on your specific situation, maybe you shouldn't do a 1-bedroom. Maybe you should be doing a 2-bedroom because you have 1-bedrooms in your portfolio. On the flip side, it's your first time, you haven't done this before. Maybe let's just get our feet wet with this investment and go into a 1-bedroom or studio. Remember, I made my bucks at the start with studio. So I'm a big proponent of studios, especially in an area that has like McMaster University, right? Because tenants are also budget conscious at times. Some tenants are. They can't afford the $3,700, even though that it's guaranteed the rent. Now, as Steven shows you the floor plans, you guys can tell I wasn't lying about the fact that the floor plans are very, not only spacious, but what I look at when I look at a condo floor plan is I don't want dead space because it's just useless. You can't do anything with it. After you look at the floor plans, and if you haven't gone to reccanada.com/for sale, I'm asking you, why haven't you been there yet? Get to reccanada.com/for sale, fill in the reservation form, and you're done We are going to break for approximately 30 minutes because the team is like, Jazz, do your thing, get re-energized. And then I'm going to bring back Simeon. We're going to be talking about multiplexes. We also understand that you need to eat as well. I'm trying to fast because, it's good for you. And I obviously have a couple of extra pounds. But most importantly, we're giving you the time to not only grab a bite to eat or something to drink, but we want you to get to reccanada.com/for sale. Ask us any questions while you're inside the portal about some of the floor plans by quickly sending us an email to info@reccanada.com. Maybe it was something Sean said. Maybe it was something that I said that just needs a little bit more clarification before you put in the reservation form. But guys, again, this is one of those investments in 2023 that when we look back in 2029, you're going to say one of two things. It's either going to be, I wish I had, or I'm glad I did. The question is, which one are you going to be saying? The investment's going to make you money. It's guaranteed, like with the rental guarantee. But the question that you're going to have to answer to yourself in 2029 is either I wish I had or I'm glad I did. And we hope that with us, you say, I'm glad I did, because we take this very, very seriously. We like to joke around on webinars and have fun, but we take your investment very seriously, so much so that we're going to sit down with you after you put in the reservation form to make sure this is the right investment for you, because I'll peel back the curtains. If we do that for you, there's a good chance you'll do this again and again and again. And most importantly, you'll tell a friend.